This video is for business leaders who know they or someone on their team or in their organization talks too much and want to change it to improve their leadership and business. Watch to the end of this video for bonus material on strategies for we who are silence challenged and how to manage that, to self-manage that, and a recommended video called Not EQ or IQ, but both, which talks about the value of balancing both of those, and not interrupting and not over talking are definitely in the category of high EQ traits, which is a skill which we can all learn and practice if we are not there yet ourselves. So this is actually part 3 of an ongoing series, and we'll focus on what I'm going to call very harshly, because I'm talking about myself here as well, the social leprosy of interrupting and over-talking. These traits in most social situations are that bad for your social dynamics. So if you interrupt, apologize the moment you become aware of it. But it's best not to interrupt unless you have no choice. Now, an important point here is you should forgive yourself immediately, but you are also not excusing yourself. It doesn't mean it was okay that you interrupted, but you should forgive yourself because you can't undo time. So really what you want to do, I've got it written here as forgive yourself without excusing yourself and take full responsibility. So this may take months or years or a lifetime to get there. I myself am still in recovery. It'll take as long as it takes. Just keep striving. Sometimes you'll have no choice but to interrupt. This is actually a fundamental social skill. Interrupting is a fundamental social skill, a critical social skill, but only when used appropriately. I'll give you an example. Experts sometimes suck at this too. A psychologist and addictions counselor in one of the Zoom networking groups I've attended over a long period of time or had attended over a long period of time wouldn't stop talking. And I'm not making a judgment here. I am making objective observation of something I am equally guilty of. The reason I say this is because it didn't happen once, but every single week. I attended this group for months, and it happened every single week, despite the fact that everybody was explicitly told they had 1 to 2 minutes to introduce themselves at the beginning of the meeting. Yet every week, this individual, without fail, seemed completely unaware of that time limit, or that they were unable to self-regulate, which is ironic given their job, but it just proves that anybody is susceptible to this. They'd seen multiple people introduce themselves within the time limit before it was their turn to go, and they'd seen this happen multiple times, and that others were waiting after them. It wasn't my group, but one day I decided I would take it upon myself to use my skill of interrupting by saying, could we please move on so others have the opportunity to go? They hated me, but the others in the group tacitly thanked me, and the organizer later thanked me overtly. So to manage chronic overtalkers, yourself included, but chronic overtalkers in general, invoke the consideration of others in the group or the goal of the event, something along this lines. Our goal today is to make sure we can introduce everybody within the first half hour. Can we get back to that? So many people will speak forever if you let them. Believe me, I know from experience. So strive to be the first one to stop talking and end interactions. There's a lot of powerful social dynamics. A lot of people who are high status are the first ones to end interactions and the last ones to begin interactions. When they reach out to you to contact you, you're thrilled because they do it very rarely. And basically, most people love them because of that trait is one of the reasons. The opposite of interrupting, the opposite of over-talking is very socially powerful and high status. So if it's always someone else who is who is stopping talking first or ending interaction first, then it probably means that you're talking too much and you need to practice the skills I'm describing here. I now end some of my one-to-ones by saying, it seems we're coming to a natural end, or it seems we're coming to a natural conclusion, because conversations go on sort of a wave. And when it's still like, oh, what do we say next? That's a great time to say, oh, well, it seems like we've come to a natural conclusion here. And then talk about next steps before shortly thereafter ending the call. So that said, I have more than 0 calls ended by others. Oftentimes it's others ending the call for me, which means I still need a lot of practice, but I'm getting there. So a good strategy at the beginning of the call, and this is the important thing because you're framing it, is to say, how much time do you have today? Then keep track. It might sound silly, but when they state the time, they can hardly complain about you taking, or the two of you taking that much time, because they chose the time. So another good strategy is near the end of the call is to say, how much more time do we have? Or how much time do we have left? Again, to give them the opportunity to say, well, I got to go in the next 2 minutes. It's like, okay, great. Thanks very much. See you next time. I'm going to reach out to you about X via email, or we'll rebook, whatever it happens to be. So thank you for watching this far. We've reached the bonus material, and these are general strategies for those of us who are silence challenged. Probably one of the best things you can do is so simple is to take a long, deep breath when you feel your body getting wound up, a rush. Because those of us who overtalk, at least I can speak for myself, feel that. When we start to talk, it feels a little like running downhill, and it can be hard to stop. But the deep, mindful breath, either before or when we feel like interrupting, or in the midst of talking and realizing we're going on too long, it's not a bad strategy. It doesn't hurt, doesn't always work, but it works pretty well. So, another thing you can do is to set your intent to speak less before and practice it mindfully during the conversation, and ending by debriefing after the interaction. I used to have a class where I got some feedback, surprise, surprise. Well, Tim is talking too much in the class. We don't feel like we have as much time as we should. This is an English class. We need practice. So I wrote in the book, for that class, I will feel my lips. Because when you feel your lips, your mouth is closed. And it worked. So one example. So some other things you can do is ask yourself the right kind of questions. And that is, ask yourself, how well did I do? Including being silent, listening more, and speaking less. Be honest with yourself. Be kind and compassionate, but be honest. Did you speak too much during the conversation? Did you interrupt? Did you overtalk? Take notes of that mentally, or write it down and set yourself a goal for next time to be better. It doesn't have to be a number, just to be better. You may need to track that in some way, but mostly the trajectory is better, quieter, speaking less, interrupting 0, and so on are good goals. So then you ask yourself, what will I do better next time? So that's it for that bonus material. And on to the recommended video, which is not EQ or IQ, but both, which I referred to at the beginning of this video. So if this video gave you any value, please share it with others. Thanks. This has been Crush It Club 228, Interrupting and Overtalking Self-Management. My name is Tim B. Green. Bye for now.